You're listening to the Broken Havoc podcast on YouTube, where we discuss everything in and outside of the squared circle. Make sure to like and subscribe for more content, and as the frickin' referee would say, ring that damn bell for more notifications.
What's up, everybody? It is Broken Havoc right here on the Broken Havoc podcast with my AEW Dynamite review from June 1st, 2022, and very familiar music, and I'm putting this music on for a reason. You guys know what this theme song is. We're going to be talking about the craziness that was the Pipebomb that MJF dropped last night on Dynamite at the Kia Forum. By the way, AEW's first time in California at the Forum. The crowd was absolutely hot for this show, and let's be honest, man, the main reason why you're here is to really give you guys my thoughts on the whole MJF craziness that happened last night on Dynamite. The guy went full CM Punk, and what I mean by that, he basically went straight for the throat. He basically cut a full-length pipe bomb. This guy went absolutely ballistic, and this literally happened while Warner Media executives were actually attending this show. So, yeah, man, this was absolutely insane. But we got a lot of things to talk about right here on the Dynamite review. Of course, we got Blood and Guts finally announced. We got Hiroshi Tanahashi. Yes, Hiroshi Tanahashi from New Japan Pro Wrestling challenging CM Punk at the Forbidden Door pay-per-view, which I believe is in 4 weeks. We have Jon Moxley versus Daniel Garcia. Of course, Athena's first night in AEW after showing up. We got a lot of things to talk about right here on the Dynamite review. But before I get on with this craziness, make sure to like and subscribe to the Broken Havoc podcast right here on YouTube, in which we discuss everything in and outside of the squared circle. Make sure to like and subscribe for more content, and as the freaking referee would say, ring that damn bell for more notifications. Also, the Broken Havoc podcast is now available on audio platforms. It's available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Anchor, and Google Podcasts. So if you guys want to check out the Broken Havoc podcast in audio format, it's available on all of those platforms. All right, guys, as you guys can see, MJF's music is basically playing, mainly because of the fact that this guy absolutely cut a crazy, and I mean a crazy ass pipe bomb, which is the very first thing that I'm going to be talking about on this Dynamite review. Coming out of Dynamite last night, the main thing that everybody was talking about was MJF's promo. What a shocker that AEW even announced that MJF was actually going to have a live microphone, mainly because of the fact that, of course, we were all afraid on Sunday that MJF was actually going to no-show the pay-per-view, but thankfully he did, and he got a crazy-ass, and I mean a crazy-ass reaction from the audience, and I mean a negative reaction from the audience, and of course he got squashed by Wardlow. But man, this MJF promo that he cut, man, I mean, I don't know what, like, honestly, I was left speechless after I saw that segment, man. I was really left speechless after watching that, and I just felt like, holy shit, man, they're really going to go with it. They're really playing this whole MJF situation into a storyline, which I genuinely believe that this whole thing was a legit shoot at first, but they eventually, of course, MJF and Tony Khan, I believe that they talked things through, and they basically converted this into the storyline, and I think this is all leading to MJF getting the World Championship from CM Punk down the line. A lot of people are saying All Out. We do not even know where All Out is going to be taking place. It would be a damn shame if All Out was in Chicago, once again, considering the fact that, you know, Forbidden Door already has Chicago, or Chicago has Forbidden Door. It'd be a damn shame, in my eyes at least, for basically Chicago to get another freaking pay-per-view. Chicago gets everything. But again, I mean, we got to talk about this segment. So, of course, this is all playing to what happened last weekend, and MJF went straight for the throat. He went straight for the kill, and he absolutely, like, went ballistic in this promo. Everybody, like, there was a whole pot, like, the entire reaction to this promo segment was, number one, shock value, but also at the same time, a lot of people were just absolutely happy that this happened. A lot of people are even saying that the promo that MJF cut was so much better than the pipe bomb that CM Punk cut back, all the way back in 2011. But, like, oh my God, man. Everything that he said in this promo was insane. Not only that, I mean, the promo started off with the crowd absolutely booing MJF. But then after he ended his promo, in which which AEW and Tony Khan basically cut off his microphone, MJF got a huge positive ass reaction. And I'm like, wow, this is absolutely insane. But I'm going to be talking about this whole thing, and I'm going to be reading you guys everything. Yes, everything, word by word, what MJF said. Thanks to Wrestle Features on Twitter, basically he uploaded the entire transcript of what MJF stated on this pipe bomb, you will. I will call this a frickin' pipe bomb, considering the fact that MJF, again, went straight for the kill. And I quote, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to be reading this promo from MJF. I am in a little bit of pain. I'm in a lot of pain right now after what happened on Sunday. But all you people want to do is hear me talk, right? That's what you want, right? You want to hear me talk? I'll talk. But this is Max Friedman talking. Big merger, boss. A lot of important executives here tonight to watch your product. Would be a real shame if something bad happened. I wouldn't want to embarrass you, man. Speaking of embarrassing, you have been trying to sit down with me to hash things out for quite some time, haven't you? Well, guess what? Too little, too late. Here's why. When this company first started, it was all friends wrestling. Everybody was handed a ticket except for me. See, I had to write my own. And boy, do I have a good penmanship, because I've created moment after moment after moment for this company, and I still get no respect. Nobody is on my level. No one. Everyone I touch turns to gold. There's nothing I can't do, I should say. Every time I come out here, I'm not expected to hit a home run. I'm expected to hit grand slams. And I do that shit on a weekly basis. See, all the other boys have to settle for being great. I have to be perfect because I am 26 years old, who is consistently held under a microscope because I'm the only guy who is capable of carrying this company on my back, as I have for months. It's funny that I hear boos, but also I hear clapping. That's interesting. Were you guys this whole weekend when you were calling me an unprofessional piece of shit? I'm just curious. You're not the only problem. It's the boys in the back too. It's the boys in the back that all want my spot. So, guess what? You guys want my spot? You can have it, because I do not want to be here anymore. So that's the first page of this whole transcript that I'm reading to. And now I'm on to the second page. Now let's talk about your fans, huh? You people call your fans. You're not fans. You're uneducated marks. You sit there on your phones tweeting out your opinions like they're worth a damn. Let me explain something to you people. You do not know shit. Your opinions suck. Your opinions change at the drop of a dime, and then you pretend that your new opinions match your old opinions. For example, man, I always knew MJF was a great wrestler. Really? That's interesting, because the last time I checked, you guys pretended that I sucked in the ring for a long time. And why is that, huh? Because I'm not untrained like your faves, because I don't pretend to watch New Japan. I like that line. I don't pretend to watch New Japan because I don't dump my opponents on their head, because I'm not reckless. What is it? Because I'm not chasing star ratings, guys? What is it? How could I possibly be the best? Well, newsflash, I am the best. I am the best in the world. And you could definitely, and I'm going to cut back a little bit. You could definitely see in this promo segment that there's a lot of similarities regarding the CM Punk pipe bomb. And literally, you can tell CM Punk's hands are all over this freaking promo. Because I'm the only guy who makes you feel, and unlike those other boys, I do not have to do a bunch of bullshit to get you there. I am a generational talent, and you people consistently take me for granted because I'm not just you. It's the big man in the back too. Here's something you guys can't take for granted. Here's something he doesn't want you to know. You guys know that who is the second biggest minute for minute draw in this entire company? Nope. You wish. It's me. It's me. And if you do not believe me, ask Stat Boy Tony in the back and see what he's got to say. But whenever you do, don't ask him to reach into his pockets and pay the man who has been busting his ass for him since day one. No. Let's make sure he hoards all that money. Make sure he hoards all that money so he can give it to all the ex-WWE guys he keeps bringing in. Yes, he actually name-dropped WWE on AEW television. And, talks about how they can't lace his goddamn boots. Hey, boss, would you treat me better if I was an ex-WWE guy? Wink, wink. So maybe you don't get it, man. Here's the problem with you, boss. You got a position of power in a wrestling company when the only position that you should be assuming is behind the guardrail with all of them. I do not want to wait until 2024, but you won't listen to me, so allow me to make it a little easier for you. Tony, I want you to fire me. Don't count me down, you piece of shit. You shut your mouth. So basically at this point, he's going to the camera on the front of the ring, and he looked at somebody as part of the staff, and basically like told them to shut the hell up. And then he calls him a piece of shit and says that you won't shut you shut your mouth, and says, Tony, look at me. I want you to fire me. You fucking mark, fire me, fire me, fire me. And then the mic just cuts off. AEW actually cut off MJF's microphone, and the segment ends. What can we take from this fucking segment? This segment was absolutely insane, and it was freaking bonkers, ladies and gentlemen. I don't care what anybody says. This was definitely, possibly, in my opinion, my top favorite segment of the entire year. I don't care what anybody says. Like, everybody, if you go on Twitter right now, everybody will still talk about the MJF segment. This MJF segment was absolutely done to perfection. There's no doubt about it whatsoever. And really, where does this lead to? Now, there are many different aspects in AEW that AEW can do with this. What I'm definitely seeing here is this is definitely setting the stage for AEW to eventually take the World Championship from CM Punk. But I do believe this is definitely an actual shoot converted into a wrestling storyline, because, in no way, shape, or form, like, this whole thing is just flat out just no normal work and like they've been working us the entire time. No, I definitely do believe in the whole stories that happened this past weekend. But, like, holy crap, the fact that they were actually able to mix this into a wrestling storyline is beyond me, in my opinion, man. And, a lot of people were concerned. I was listening to Dave Meltzer and Brian Alvarez. They were talking about how this was a really fantastic segment, but at the same time, it actually led the fans to actually side with MJF on this point. And I definitely do see that concern, but at the same time, it's MJF we're talking about, and I think MJF can definitely handle like people liking him, but at the same time, MJF can still like talk shit at those same people and probably eventually get booed. But like, holy crap, man, this segment was absolutely insane. He the fact that he name dropped WWE and talks about how Tony Khan is bringing in all these ex-WWE guys is a major line right there. And the reason why I say that is because there is a portion of the audience that definitely does see that, Tony Khan is bringing in, your Swerves, your Keith Lees, your Bryan Danielsons, your CM Punks, all those guys. And holy shit, man, MJF went straight for the bullet. He went straight for the heart, and he went straight for the throat. This is definitely going to be leading to MJF winning the the AEW World Championship. But how does this now? What happens after this segment? Do I see? I mean, after this segment, we went to commercial break, and once we came back from commercial break, AEW did not mention this. The commentators did not even mention a single thing. They didn't mention a single thing of MJF. So what we're possibly going to be seeing here is maybe MJF taking a short hiatus. Maybe like, CM Punk finally like, defended his title against somebody, and then MJF just shows up out of nowhere, attacks Punk, and then it gets a huge pop, but like he beats the shit out of Punk and then just cuts another pipe bomb. Who knows? I mean, there's many different scenarios in which you can go with this. But again, I definitely do see MJF winning the world title a couple of months down the road, because we all know the guy to take the belt from Punk is MJF, considering the fact that the story itself makes sense. Nobody besides MJF should take that title away from Punk. The only guy to take it is MJF, and I've been constantly talking about this for the past how many months now. And I said, he's the guy to take the belt from Hangman, but now Punk has the title, and MJF just had a fantastic feud with CM Punk. I mean, dude, you have to. I think you have to pull the trigger on this. But holy shit, man! Like this segment was absolutely perfect, and to me, what makes this promo segment special is the fact that if you watch a WWE program, and yes, I'm making comparisons to WWE, so get pissed off at me, Jones. I don't give a single shit. But if you don't really see shit like this in WWE TV, like the pipe bomb was something special, because of the fact that you haven't seen stuff like that. But like the thing about it is, in modern WWE history, like for the past couple of years, we really haven't seen segments like this. And AEW, really, there's a lot of free reign there, and you see a lot of these type of shenanigans happening. I don't want to say shenanigans, but these types of promos that are happening on the show. But overall, man, this MJF segment was amazing. I absolutely love it, and I'm definitely excited to see where this is going in the near future. yes, you can run the risk in the audience actually taking a liking to MJF. That is what happened with CM Punk after he did his pipe bomb. Everybody fell in love with CM Punk after that. But again, I think the AEW will definitely figure it out and definitely keep MJF as a heel, because if you just instantly turn him babyface, really, what is the point of the story? There's really no point in the story whatsoever. But overall, man, this was like the main talking point throughout this entirety of this entire show. And overall thoughts on the show itself. The show itself was absolutely fantastic. Of course, as I mentioned right in the beginning of this video, this was AEW's first time in California, in the West Coast. Well, I believe Nevada's in the West Coast, of course, but for their first time in the state of California. And overall, man, the crowd was absolutely on fire, especially the first hour. The first hour was definitely a freaking can't miss show. The second hour was pretty good, but if you compare it to the first hour, I felt like the first hour definitely hit a 100% home run. But overall, the matches that we got, not only that, we finally got the announcement of Blood and Guts, of course, the MJF segment, man. This show was amazing. Possibly one of the best Dynamites, not only of this year, but Dynamites as a whole. Like, this was probably one of the best Dynamites, so far in the show's history. But the show starts with CM Punk and FTR versus the Gunn Club and Max Caster. Of course, it is CM Punk's first appearance on AEW Dynamite as the AEW World Champion after beating Hangman Page in a great match with a mixed reaction, but a great match at Double or Nothing this past Sunday. CM Punk got a huge pop as the AEW World Champion. Of course, he was teaming up with Dax Harwood and Cash Wheeler, who are the Ring of Honor Tag Team Champions. Overall, thoughts on this opening match? I love the teaming and the pairing of FTR and CM Punk. I think the pairing just makes total sense in my eyes, because like CM Punk is literally the top guy right now in the entire company. Also, FTR is literally the top tag team in the entire company, and by far, a lot of people, in a lot of fans' eyes, including myself, FTR is by far the best tag team in the entire world. I don't care what anybody says, they are. But overall thoughts on the match. The match, of course, got the job done. CM Punk did do a couple of botches. Yes, he did do some botches, but whatever. Who gives a shit? Overall thoughts on the match again. Great match. Dax and Austin Gunn start. Of course, Austin and Colton Gunn are a part of this, the Gunn Club and all that stuff, and they're called the Ass Boys, of course. Both lock up. Austin pushes Dax into the corner, and both lock up again. We got a shoulder tackle by Austin Gunn. Dax then goes for an elbow and a chop. Cash Wheeler then makes the tag. We get a double team by FTR. We get a cover by Cash and a near fall. Austin then proceeds to fight back with the right. Colton Gunn then makes the tag, and, after that, Colton goes for he gets hit with a back body drop. We get a drop kick and an arm drag by Cash Wheeler. He works on the left arm of Colton. Caster then makes the tag. Both Dax and Cash face off with Cash Wheeler. Then with Colton, I believe. Then after that, or Caster, my apologies. Cash then works on the arm of Caster. Then after that, Punk makes the tag. He goes to the top and he hits a sledge. Then we get a couple of right hands, and at this point, the crowd is absolutely going ballistic. But Caster regains the advantage. Then he sends Punk into the corner. Punk goes for a crossbody, and then he makes the tag to Cash. And then he tags Dax. Cash then goes for the second rope. He hits a power slam on Caster. We get a cover and a near fall. We get a side slam by Caster on Dax Harwood. Colton then makes the tag. Dax then fights off all of the heels. Then we get a trip by Austin. He goes for repeated stomps into the corner. Then Colton makes the tag, and then we get a double team attempt by the Gunn Club after that. Colton then hits a drop kick, but then Austin takes him down with the natural. It looked like a natural selection like move, so correct me if I'm wrong. What type of move was that? Then we get a cover and an immediate kick out. Max Caster then makes the tag. Both Caster and Colton Gunn send Dax Harwood into the corner. Billy Gunn hits a right without the referee looking, so he is making basically the distractions and interfering in the match. Dax then sends Caster and Colton to the outside. Then Colton comes in, and then Dax hits a side slam on Colton. Dax then tries to make the tag, but then both Punk and Cash get taken to the outside by all of the heels. We get a double flatliner by both Austin and Colton, a.k.a. the Gunn Club, a.k.a. the Ass Boys. We get a cover and another near fall. Once we're back from break, Caster is in control. Dax then fights back, going into the sharpshooter, but then Dax makes the tag to Punk. He proceeds to work on Austin, and then he works on Colton. He slams Austin, and then he slams Colton. Then after that, he misses a leg lariat. Yes, he tried to hit the leg lariat, but it looked like he missed. Then he hits a high kick on Caster. We get a running knee by Punk on Austin. He hits a back body drop on Cash, taking out the heels to the outside. Then after that, Punk goes to the top, and then he hits an elbow drop. At this point, Billy Gunn is on the apron. Austin then goes for the roll-up, but a near fall. Punk then catches Austin for doing the famouser and hits a powerbomb on Billy Gunn. Then after that, he picks up Austin. FTR makes the tag. He hits the GTS. FTR then hits the big rig, and then we get a cover, and Punk and FTR get the win. Again, overall thoughts on the match. It was a great opener to start off Dynamite. It was a great match to definitely get the crowd reeling for the show because definitely, man, the California crowd was definitely by far one of AEW's best crowds. I definitely enjoyed the atmosphere at the Kia Forum for this show, and especially for this match. The crowd was definitely behind both FTR and CM Punk. CM Punk then gets the mic and he holds up the title. Says that he's never done drugs in his life, but I guess this is what it feels like. And of course, he is mentioning the atmosphere inside the forum. Talks about how there's still miles to travel and talks about how he still needs to get better. And he wouldn't be here if it wasn't for all of his mistakes. You can call him positive or negative, but you have to call him champ. Then Dax Harwood gets the microphone, talks about pro wrestling, how it means the world to him. Talks about how his family and his kid means more to him than pro wrestling. It talks about how if you're a different company or from the same company, bring your ass out here so we can kick your ass. And then, of course, CM Punk calls out anybody from New Japan Pro Wrestling. Of course, starting last week, we started to get an invasion from New Japan Pro Wrestling wrestlers. Of course, we got Great O'Khan and Jeff Cobb, of course, a part of United Empire. I believe that is Will Ospreay's group, and I also believe TJP is also a part of that group as well, which definitely teased a match between both FTR and Jeff Cobb and Great O'Khan at Forbidden Door, which will definitely be a freaking banger of a match. But after they call out anybody from New Japan Pro Wrestling, what happens? Hiroshi Tanahashi comes out. Yes, the ace of New Japan Pro Wrestling, Hiroshi Tanahashi, comes out and seemingly looks like he challenges Punk to a match at Forbidden Door. Now, we do not know if this is a title match. My assumption is that this is not going to be a championship match, considering the fact that the entirety of the card of Forbidden Door is not an AEW, versus AEW or New Japan versus New Japan type of card. It's going to be a flat out AEW versus New Japan. Every single card is going to be AEW versus New Japan Pro Wrestling. And this is the first match that was officially announced. Hiroshi Tanahashi basically challenged CM Punk to a match at Forbidden Door, which, I was excited. A lot of people, I'm definitely excited, and I'm absolutely happy that this is going to be happening. A lot of people were kind of disappointed in a way. Some people expected either Kenta because of course, the similarities, and they have the exact same finisher of the GTS. It would make total sense if they booked CM Punk versus Kenta, or a lot of people were expecting Okada, considering the fact that CM Punk basically challenged Okada on social media a couple of weeks ago. So that's not going to be the case. I believe the rumored match is going to be Okada versus Danielson, which would be a fantastic match as well. Of course, Kota Ibushi is no longer going to be on the card, I assume, considering the fact that he's been in the negative when it comes to New Japan Pro Wrestling, basically exposing them and a lot of that stuff. But that's not for me to talk about. But Hiroshi Tanahashi comes out and again challenges Punk to a match at Forbidden Door, which I think is going to be a fantastic match. Hiroshi Tanahashi is really good in the ring. If you guys haven't seen Hiroshi Tanahashi, definitely check him out. But overall, man, I'm definitely excited for this. Hiroshi Tanahashi challenging Punk. I have absolutely no problem with this whatsoever. All right, I already talked about the whole MJF segment, which I already talked about at the top of this show. So if you guys want to check it out, go move back to the beginning of this video. But we got Johnny Elite versus a mystery opponent. Yes, Johnny Elite is wrestling on Dynamite once again. So who is he wrestling? Dun 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 dun. We finally got him. Miro. Miro is officially back in AEW after I believe he was injured, so that's why he's back now. But, Miro is finally back, and he wrestled Johnny Elite. Johnny Elite did get some offense in this match, but overall, man, I'm freaking happy to see Miro back. And I even tweeted this out when Miro came back. Please, Miro, please, save us from this travesty of a TNT Championship title scene, because the TNT Championship title scene is an absolute freaking shambles, and it's an absolute dumpster fire right now. And hopefully, Miro can come back to that title scene and just squash Scorpio Sky and just take the title from him, because we need somebody like Miro as the TNT champion. But it's great to see Miro back. I definitely do see some big plans for Miro in the near future. But of course, now He is wrestling Johnny Elite. We get a spinning kick countered by a clothesline by Miro. We get a couple of rights and lefts by Miro into the corner. We get a kick by Johnny, and then Miro throws him across the ring. Once we're back from break, we got an elbow drop by Johnny Elite. He proceeds to pick up Miro, and then he plants him to the mat. Miro then misses a pump kick, but then Johnny Elite hits a roundhouse kick. We get a couple of body shots by Johnny Mundo after that. Miro then misses a splash. At this point, Johnny Elite is in control. He hits Johnny then hits a spinning roundhouse kick. Then he goes for the moonsault. It looked like a moonsault, I believe. I think it was a moonsault-like move. Correct me if I'm wrong. No, it was a moonsault. My dumbass. It was a moonsault. That was the wrong spot. We get a cover by Johnny and a near fall. He hits a running kick, and then he goes to the top. I don't even know what type of move that was. It wasn't the Starship Pain, but he hit some type of move off the top. And then Miro goes for the pump kick, and then Miro applies the game over, and then Johnny Elite taps out, and Miro wins the match. Of course, it was totally obvious that Miro was going to be getting the win, considering the fact that, if Miro lost, what is the point of bringing back Miro? What is the point? Let's be real. It was the right decision for Miro to go over in this match. It made total sense, honestly. But, yeah, man, what do I think they're going to be doing with Miro in the future, man? I honestly do not know. I mean, I see them definitely putting Miro in the TNT Championship title scene, but we're going to have to wait and see what happens in the near future, man, because right now, I believe Scorpio Sky is going to be defending his title against Dante Martin this Friday on Rampage, which I believe is going to be a live show as well. So, again, we're going to have to wait for a while, but I believe definitely, Miro is going to be going on a freaking winning streak for the next couple of weeks, or maybe I should say months. The Jericho Appreciation Society addresses their victory at Double or Nothing. Of course, at Double or Nothing, it was Anarchy in the Arena, which was an absolutely barn burner and a fantastic match. I talked about on the Double or Nothing review, and if you guys haven't checked out the Double or Nothing review, the link is in the description below. But I talked about how the show was damn long. But overall, man, Anarchy in the Arena freaking got you amped up. Those last three matches, the Anarchy in the Arena, the tag team title match, and the main event, definitely had the crowd absolutely up on their feet, especially Anarchy in the Arena, considering the fact that Anarchy in the Arena was just, I don't know, man. Something special about Anarchy in the Arena was just so damn good. And I absolutely loved the storyline element, especially near the end when it came to Eddie Kingston and Bryan Danielson just absolutely going at it. And I believe I stated on the Double or Nothing review that I really want to see another match between Bryan Danielson and Eddie Kingston. We've seen that match before when they had the World Title Tournament last fall, but hopefully we get to see a match between Bryan Danielson and Eddie Kingston. But we're gonna have to wait and see. So Angelo Parker basically gets the mic and talks about how they dominated Anarchy in the Arena. Therefore, they asked the AEW Galaxy to appreciate all of them. Matt Menard then calls them he calls them all, I forgot what he said, the Princess of Pain, or the Princes of Pain, I should say. The Princes of Pain. Jericho then gets the microphone and says that we do not deserve to sing the Judas theme song. What we deserve is the winners of the Anarchy in the Arena, the Jericho Appreciation Society. Winning that match was not without a price. He had his hair pulled out. Talks about how that psycho Eddie Kingston comes in with the ring with the gas tank and pulls gasoline all over him and almost lit him on fire. What man burns another man? And, I think I got the answer to that, Eddie Kingston. Then after that, he talks about Bryan Danielson, talks about how he was going to kick his fucking head in. And after that, Hager, talked about how him and Hager choked him out. And that's the same thing that Garcia is what Garcia is going to be doing tonight on Dynamite against Jon Moxley, which, by the way, him and Jon Moxley delivered a fantastic match on Dynamite tonight. The main event, the match went a little bit overtime, but, man, that match was absolutely amazing in my eyes, man. Jon Moxley always delivers a really good match. But he talks about Bryan Danielson and talks about how, every time sports entertainers go up against pro wrestlers, the sports entertainers always win. But then what happens? Eddie Kingston and William Regal come out and talk. Eddie Kingston basically talks about how he wants to fight them all on his own. And then he asks Regal, let them know what I want. And William Regal finally states blood and guts. Yes, he finally states blood and guts after that. So we're going to be getting a blood and guts match between the Jericho Appreciation Society, the BCC, and Santana and Ortiz and Eddie Kingston. Which, by the way, I'm actually happy that, overall, I'm actually really happy that William Regal even stated that, the blood and guts thing. But I will say this, though. When he stated blood and guts, it sounded kind of off in a way. But I will say this, though. Him saying War Games is so much better, but I totally understand why he didn't say War Games is because of the fact that AEW does not own the rights to War Games. But overall, man, the fact that he said blood and guts, everybody wanted for that to happen. But we're going to be getting a blood and guts match between the two factions, and this was definitely predicted. I constantly stated, right here on the review that we are going to be getting a blood and guts match, no doubt about it. 100%, we are going to be getting a blood and guts match, and I'm definitely excited to see where it goes in the near future. Now, Blood and Guts, I believe, will take place June 29th in Detroit. So I believe it's the first time AEW is going to be in Detroit. So we're going to have to wait and see for that. But do I think it's going to be it's going to top the Blood and Guts from last year? Absolutely, I think so. I think AEW is going to be learning their mistakes about what happened last year. If you guys do not recall, last year during Blood and Guts, the pads were exposed to the audience, and the audience constantly just talked about that shit on, on Twitter and all that stuff. But after that, Jericho says that he's not going to be getting blood and guts. And then out of nowhere, Kingston goes straight for the attack, but the entirety of the JAS go and gang up on Eddie Kingston. But Ortiz is behind Jericho and hits Jericho and actually cuts his hair. And then, Jericho states that, you know what? You want blood and guts? You got it. And says that, they will, in order to get blood and guts, he's going to have to shave his head bald. So Jericho challenged Ortiz to a hair versus hair match, July 15th, I believe, which is the AEW Road Rager show, which I'm actually really excited for. So they're going to be getting a hair versus hair match, which I definitely do see Chris Jericho getting his head shaved. I mean, Chris Jericho being bald is going to be really weird, but again, it's going to be building up for blood and guts. I'm definitely excited for the blood and guts match in my eyes. I think it's going to be a great ass match. We got the Red Dragon and the Young Bucks taking on Hikuleo. Of course, Hikuleo is a part of New Japan Pro Wrestling. Taking on Matt Hardy, Darby Allin, and Jurassic Express and Christian Cage. Overall thoughts on this tag team championship match, man. This tag team match was absolutely on freaking fire. So many freaking, spots happening all at once, which was freaking awesome to see. It was hard for me to keep up on my notes, but overall, man, fantastic match. I absolutely loved this match for what it was. Christian Cage, I don't know, man. They got to turn Christian Cage at some point in the near future, and I felt like we kind of got somewhere of a teaser of like that, a couple weeks ago, and I feel like we're going to be getting that later on in the near future with Christian Cage turning on Jurassic Express. But I will say this, though. Jurassic Express should not be the AEW World Tag Team Champions right now. I think, Swerve and Keith Lee should have taken those titles in my eyes. I feel like right now, how long did Jurassic Express have those titles? So they won the titles in January, and it's now June. So for over 5 months, they held those titles. I actually even came up with the idea of FTR taking those titles away from Jurassic Express, considering the fact that FTR right now are the current Ring of Honor and AAA Tag Team Champions. But not only that, they're like by far the hottest tag team, not only in AEW, but the hottest tag team in wrestling right now. So, we're gonna have to wait and see what happens. But overall thoughts on this match: this is an absolutely freaking barn burner of a match. I absolutely enjoy this match. Jungle Boy and Kyle O'Reilly start. We get a couple of kicks by Kyle, and then Kyle goes for an overhead chop. We get a drop kick by Jungle Boy. Then Fish makes the tag. We get an arm drag by Jungle Boy. Cage then enters the fray. We get a double team attempt by Cage, and Jungle Boy goes for the hip toss. We get a double hip toss once again. Matt Hardy then tags in, and then we get a double right hand by both Matt Hardy and Christian Cage. Matt Hardy then goes for the elbow up to the top. Then Fish goes for a couple of kicks. Cage and Matt Jackson makes the tag. We get repeated rights by Cage, and then Cage goes for the Tornado DDT. We get a cover and a near fall. Cage is in control over Matt Jackson, and then he hits a right hand. Fish then takes Cage, but then Darby interferes. Jungle Boy then hits a Hurricane Rana onto the apron on the outside. A brawl proceeds to break loose, but then Darby hits a suicide dive on the outside. Then after that, we get a double moonsault by both Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus on the outside. We get a super kick by Nick Jackson. Matt then goes for a dropkick onto the outside, but then Nick hits a somersault onto the outside. Once we're back from break, the Bucks miss a super kick. Cage then hits a reverse DDT on both Bucks. Luchasaurus then makes the tag, and then he proceeds to take everybody out. And then he proceeds to throw down Matt Jackson. He takes Kyle O'Reilly and takes him to the corner, and then he hits a double clothesline after that. He takes Nick, and then Nick escapes and hits a series of kicks. Then Luchasaurus goes for the rolling flatliner, and then Jungle Boy hits out of nowhere the beautiful, and by far, as I've stated earlier in other reviews for the past couple of months, the greatest move in the history of professional wrestling, the Canadian Destroyer. After that, Luchasaurus hits a moonsault. We get a cover engine near fall. Hikuleo enters the fray, and then Luchasaurus takes Hikuleo and then hits a headbutt. We got a double clothesline by both, and then Darby and Kyle O'Reilly make the hot tag. Then Darby works on Red Dragon with a series of splashes. He hits a stomp, and then he hits a stunner on Kyle O'Reilly. He takes Hikuleo to the outside, and then Darby goes to the top. He hits a coffin drop, but then gets caught by Hikuleo. But then Kyle O'Reilly hits a suplex onto the outside on Darby Allin. Matt Hardy then is in control over the Young Bucks. He hits their head repeatedly onto the turnbuckle on the Bucks, and then he hits it on Red Dragon after that, and the crowd was absolutely reeling for this moment. This is by far one of the best highlights of the entire match. Then after that, Hikuleo comes in, and then he does it to Hikuleo, but Hikuleo no-sells it. Then Cage hits a dropkick off the middle rope. Matt Hardy then hits the Twist of Fate, but then both Cage and Matt hit a clothesline on Hikuleo onto the outside. And then Cage spears Hikuleo onto the apron. Kyle O'Reilly then goes for a couple of knees. The Bucks then go for the super kick party, but then Jungle Boy comes in and lands into a double super kick. And then the super kick party continues with the Young Bucks. Then after that, Matt Hardy comes in. Red Dragon then out of nowhere hits the high-low, and then the Bucks hit the Meltzer driver for the win, and the Undisputed Elite beat the Babyfaces in this match. Again, overall thoughts on this match, this was an absolutely insane freaking tag team match, and one of the key highlights with AEW is always tag team wrestling, and you definitely saw that on this match. Not only that, the crowd was just absolutely insane for this match, so it was great to see, and definitely the Bucks got the win. I believe we're going to be getting the Young Bucks versus the Lucha Bros this Friday on Rampage, so that's going to be another match that's definitely going to be piquing my interest. Tony Schiavone interviews the newest signing to AEW, that being Athena. Of course, Athena is the former Ember Moon in WWE. She gets a standing ovation from the audience. Talks about how she can finally say that Athena is all elite. It's not a surprise why she is here. The competition in the women's division is strong in AEW. And she proceeds to talk about the TBS champion, Jade Cargill. Talks about how all streaks were made to be broken, and she will be breaking her streak. After that, she talks about how she's the fallen goddess, but Jade Cargill comes in, and the first thing that she says is, Tony, cut the shit, which I absolutely love. I love that line by Jade Cargill, by the way. Tony, cut the shit. And talks about how, she comes in, Stokely Hathaway comes in and proceeds to put over Jade as the TBS champion. Stokely Hathaway is a fantastic manager for Jade. I think the pairing with her and Stokely Hathaway is just absolutely fantastic. I don't know, man. I just absolutely love the chemistry between the two, and I just feel like he's so much better. Stokely Hathaway is just so much better than Mark Sterling in my eyes. It just is. But he basically puts over Jade as a queen and a goddess, and she is our TBS champion. And talks about how Jade Athena will get no title shot. And then out of nowhere, Kiera Hogan, who is one of the baddies, faces off with Athena. But then Anna Jay and Chris Statlander come in for the save. Overall thoughts on this segment? A great segment overall. I enjoyed the segment for what it was. Definitely teasing a match between both Jade and Athena, which a lot of people are saying Athena is possibly the one to dethrone Jade Cargill for the TBS Championship, which I could see that being the case, but I genuinely, in my eyes, I feel that, somebody like a Chris Statlander should do that, considering the fact that the audience absolutely loves Chris Statlander now, but we'll just wait and see what happens, because there's so many different possibilities. And look, let's be 100% honest here. Once Jade Cargill loses the TBS Championship, she's going straight to the main event scene, and possibly, I will be the first one to say right here, I think she should take the AEW Women's Championship from Thunder Rosa. Now, Thunder Rosa was nowhere near to be seen on this show. I do not know why. Apparently, it was some health reasons. So if that was the case, then hopefully she gets better. But overall, man, there are many different scenarios in what you can do when it comes to Jade Cargill. But right now, of course, she is the current TBS champion, and right now, as of right now, really, she is nowhere near losing that title anytime soon. We got Wardlow versus JD Drake. Of course, Wardlow's first match officially a part of AEW after beating MJF by hitting him with 10 power bombs in the opening match at Double or Nothing. The match was pretty good for what it was. The crowd was absolutely all over Wardlow. The match starts. It was definitely a short match. We get a couple of chops by JD Drake. Wardlow then fires back with a lariat, and then he drives JD into the corner. He proceeds to throw down JD, and he hits 2 power bombs, and Wardlow wins the match. Then Tony Schiavone interviews Wardlow, but right before Wardlow speaks, what happens? The dumbass himself, Smart Mark Sterling, comes out and gives him a document that is a lawsuit about all the people that he's basically beat up, so like all the staff that he has beat up, and says that he will see him in court. But what happens? Wardlow don't give a damn, and he power bombs the security guard. So what are they going to be doing with Wardlow after this? Wardlow got super over with the audience, and I think he's still super over with the audience. But after that MJF segment, I mean, I don't even know what the hell they're going to be doing with Wardlow. I mean, we're going to have to wait and see what happens there. But hopefully, they can put Wardlow in a championship title scene, because I think he can bring legitimacy to. I mean, the TNT Championship has legitimacy, but like I feel like right now in its current state, I don't think it's like not really in a good place. And I think a guy like Wardlow can definitely make it as important as it is, but we're going to have to wait and see in the near future. It all depends how long Wardlow is going to be staying over, because the crowd can instantly get bored at an instant. You guys know how the audience is. Whenever somebody gets stale, when fans when the audience loves a wrestler, but once that wrestler starts to become stale in a couple of weeks, the audience immediately turns on the wrestler. But I don't think it's going to be the case with Wardlow. I think Wardlow is still going to be super over with the audience like he is right now. But we're going to have to wait and see. I mean, right now they're just putting him in jobber squashing matches. We got Scorpio Sky backstage, talks about how the match is set for Rampage and he's going to be beating Dante Martin. Dante Martin then comes in and talks about how he's going to prove that he is better than him this Friday on Rampage. We got Britt Baker and Jamie Hayter versus Toni Storm and Ruby Soho. Overall thoughts on this match. This was a great match overall. I enjoyed the match for what it was. The right outcome happened with Toni Storm and Ruby Soho getting the win. I was really afraid. When it came to this match, I was so afraid that they were going to have Britt Baker either have, Ruby Soho tap out due to the lockjaw, or have Britt Baker pin Ruby Soho and basically beat her again, because how many times has Ruby Soho lost to Britt Baker? What was it, twice? I can't recall, because I remember they did have the match at Grand Slam, but I can't recall if they had another match after that. I gotta go back and watch, but really, Ruby Soho can't take another loss in my eyes, because like she's been losing a lot lately. But overall thoughts on the match. This was a great match. I absolutely loved. I loved the chemistry, and I loved the teamwork with both Jamie Hayter and Britt Baker, and also Toni Storm and Ruby Soho. I mean, the match overall was really good for what it was. Britt Baker and Toni Storm start. We get a kick by Britt, and then she goes after Toni. After that, Toni Storm retaliates, and then Britt goes to the outside. We get a roll up by Toni Storm, and then we get a near fall. After that, we get a shotgun drop kick by Toni Storm. Ruby Soho then makes the tag. We get a double kick by Storm and Ruby, and then we get a cover and a near fall. Britt is in control over Ruby Soho. Jamie Hayter then makes the tag, and then she hits a big boot on Ruby Soho. Britt then goes for a sweep pin on Ruby from the apron. Then after that, she hits a swinging neck breaker on the outside. Once we're back from break, Britt and Ruby fight it out. We get a backslide pin attempt by Ruby, but we get a kick out. Then Ruby goes for the Saito suplex on Britt Baker. At this point, the hot tag is made between both Toni Storm and Jamie Hayter. Toni Storm hits a German suplex, and then she goes for the hip attack into the corner. Jamie Hayter then hits a tornado DDT. Then she tries to go for the tornado DDT on the outside, but Hayter takes her down to the outside instead. Ruby then goes for a crossbody, but then Britt hits a sling blade onto the outside. Hayter then hits a sliding knee on Toni Storm. We get a cover and a near fall. Storm then gets Hayter up and hits the Alabama Slam. Then Ruby goes to the top and misses. Then she lands into a thrust kick, and at this point, a whole spot fest is going on. Jamie Hayter then goes for a nasty, and when I mean nasty, I mean a really nasty backbreaker on Ruby Soho. Britt then makes the tag. She goes to the top, and then she goes for a double underhook suplex after that. Ruby then goes for the roll-up, but we get a near fall. Ruby then hits the no future, and then we get a cover and a near fall. Britt then transitions into the lockjaw. Then after that, Ruby hits a roll-up, but then Jamie Hayter interferes. Britt then goes for the roll-up once again, but we get a near fall. Britt then hits the swinging neck breaker, but then Jamie enters the fray, but gets taken down. We get a roll-up by Ruby Soho on Britt Baker. We get a near fall. We get a knee by Ruby. Then she hits the Destination Unknown. We get a cover, and Ruby Soho and Toni Storm get the win. Overall, thoughts on this match. Again, great match. I thought the right outcome for this match definitely happened. And overall, great match overall. Where do I see this going in the near future? I mean, what are they going to be doing with Britt Baker after she won the Owen Hart Cup tournament? Same thing with Adam Cole. That remains to be seen. But overall, a lot of people were saying this is setting the stage for AEW to possibly introduce Women's Tag Team Championship, which I do not see that being the case, considering the fact that, again, you have to really elevate and really set the stage for your women's division in order to have actual, tag teams to introduce Women's Tag Team Championships. And I don't think the AEW Women's Division has, I don't want to say that, depth right now for Women's Tag Team Championships. That's just my opinion. But overall, great match. But then after that, Jamie Hayter hits Ruby Soho with the belt, and the heels stand tall. We got our main event between Daniel Garcia. Of course, Daniel Garcia is a part of the Jericho Appreciation Society, taking on the Blue-Eyed Battler, Jon Moxley. Overall thoughts on this match, man. Great match. Great main event to close off Dynamite. Fantastic match. This match went over over 10 o'clock, and actually the show ended, I believe it was like 10:02 right here in the East Coast. But overall thoughts on this match, man. This match was absolutely brutal for what it was. Of course, Garcia is known for his technical wrestling ability. Jon Moxley can adapt that technical wrestling ability. Not only that, Jon Moxley, in my eyes, is a mixture of the deathmatch style and definitely the technical style of wrestling. Daniel Garcia, for me, is just pure wrestling. This guy is a fantastic pure wrestler. But the match starts. Both lock up. We get a shoulder tackle by Moxley, and then Moxley goes for a chop into the corner, but then Garcia goes for a kick. Then we get a couple of chops by Garcia, and then he goes for a couple of rights. Both then exchange chops. We get a kick to the back of Moxley, but then Moxley gets up. Moxley then goes for a slap, and then we get a kick to the back of Daniel Garcia. We get a cover and a near fall. Both apply a knuckle lock. We get a headbutt by both. Then after that, we get a right hand by Daniel Garcia, but then both take each other to the outside. At this point, Moxley is busted open. Garcia then sends Moxley to the steel steps, and then he sets the steel steps in between the leg of Moxley, inside of the steel steps, and actually he hits a drop kick onto the steps, which definitely looked absolutely brutal if you're in Jon Moxley's shoes. But once we're back from break, Garcia goes for the backdrop. We get a cover and a near fall after that. Then Moxley throws Garcia to the steel steps. We get a series of clotheslines by Moxley. He takes Garcia to the top, and then Moxley goes for a suplex off the top. Moxley then goes for a series of elbows, but then Max applies the choke, but Garcia escapes and hits a series of elbows. Moxley then escapes and goes for multiple elbows once again. He applies the cross arm breaker. Garcia then applies a submission attempt, but then Moxley goes to the bottom rope. Moxley then goes for an inside cradle, but then we get a German suplex by Moxley. Garcia then gets up, and then we get multiple rights and lefts by Daniel Garcia. Garcia then goes for a German of his own. Then he proceeds to hit the pile driver after that. We get a cover and another near fall, but then Garcia applies the sharpshooter, but then Moxley applies a bulldog choke. Both then fight it out. Both exchange shots, but then Garcia applies a sleeper on Moxley and lands onto the timekeeper's ear. And at this point, we're going overtime, and Tony Schiavone even stated on commentary as well. Jericho then enters the fray. We get a roll-up by Garcia and a near fall. Kingston then comes in and proceeds to attack Chris Jericho. Moxley then goes for the paradigm shift, and then he applies the bulldog choke, and Moxley gets the win. Then Moxley then after that cuts a promo and talks about how he signed up Jon Moxley for Blood and Guts, and Blood and Guts will officially take place June 29th in Detroit. Meanwhile, I believe 2 weeks later, Road Rager is going to be happening, and it's going to be Chris Jericho versus Ortiz in a hair versus hair match. So we're going to be, I'm definitely excited for what's to come in, especially for Blood and Guts. Every year when it comes to AEW, I always look forward to Blood and Guts. I think Blood and Guts is great to have on Dynamite, and, having this feud be inside Blood and Guts, man, like what the hell is Jon Moxley and Eddie Kingston going to be doing, man? These guys are going to go absolutely ballistic inside that cage. But overall thoughts on Dynamite. Dynamite, a lot of people have stated this, and I will state it here as well. This show felt like a Monday Night Raw after WrestleMania. I don't care what anybody says. This show felt like a Raw after WrestleMania because, like, let's be honest. This year with the Raw after WrestleMania, what was the only thing that was special? Cody Rhodes. Everything else on the show just fell flat on its face in my eyes. But overall, this was a fantastic Dynamite, and the MJF segment was absolutely freaking insane. And we're going to have to see where that whole MJF angle is going to be going. I definitely see him winning and beating CM Punk for the World Championship. We're going to have to see when and where that's going to happen. I feel like MJF winning the World Championship, it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. Because we're going to be having the entire summer dedicated to the Summer of Punk. But I feel like MJF is going to be spoiling that party and is going to be winning the AEW World Championship. So, yeah, that was my Dynamite review from June 1st, 2022. Please like, subscribe, comment down below, push that bell for notifications, and be on the lookout for more videos right here on the Broken Havoc podcast. And as always, it is Broken Havoc signing out.